Right. Hello, everybody. Woo! I hope you're doing well. Brace yourself. Okay, we got lots of messages, so bear with me. I haven't been here in a while. I will tell you a little bit of why, but one thing at a time. Let's cleanse your energy. Welcome. Happy solar eclipse in Aries. Let me retract back, and if you want to know about that energy that I already talked about, I'll put in the link in the comments. I'll tag it in the comments. It's one of the recent videos, okay? But solar eclipse in Aries, something about 1818. I just saw 444 when I was tapping into this energy. There's a lot of things. I kept hearing clips out. Something's gonna be exposed. I kept hearing corrupt, expose, corruption. I mean, we're already seeing those who are in the pro-Palestine, you already know. Thanks to the Palestinians, okay? Guys, thank you so much for your like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you're liking and sharing, okay? In the description below, there's gonna be videos that are gonna be tagged in this video as well. If you feel like it, or your intuition's letting you know, please use your discernment. If it's letting you know to share, please do, especially those who we are trying to amplify the voices for their GoFundMe, those who are already in stuck in Rafah and they want to cross the border of the Egyptian, but also, there's people that are not added into the olive branch, or I don't know, maybe they couldn't have and they haven't had time, and other people, maybe decided last minute that they didn't want to stay, that they want to go. So it's a lot of people have decided to stay, okay? So we honor those people, but we also honor those who wants to leave, It's a hard decision, to be honest, because there's a lot of people that they don't want to be like kind of begging for, basic necessities and basic thing. And we don't even have to be doing this if there's a ceasefire, permanent ceasefire, end of occupation and apartheid and all of this, right? But here we are, right?
Hi, everyone. So I know I've been calling out Arab leaders in a few videos, but I'd like to give a special call out to Egypt. So to the government of Egypt and all your law enforcement officers and border security personnel, brace yourselves, you conniving, traitorous pieces of garbage, because I'm about to unleash on you. First off, we get why Israel walled up Gaza, which is because they're an evil, maniacal apartheid regime with the sole purpose of controlling and tormenting Palestinians in an open-air concentration camp. But what's your excuse, Egypt? Why do you have a wall up that you control through the most illegal practices that I'll get into in a bit? Shouldn't you show your own ummah that has been persecuted, oppressed, and treated in the worst possible ways due to Arab and Muslim racism and hatred, that you have their backs against this evil apartheid regime by having an open border for Palestinians to travel freely, especially if they need to seek refuge? Aren't you a country that's independent of Israeli influence? Let me answer that for you. No, you're not. According to analysts at a January 2010 Egyptian security conference, the barrier between Gaza and Egypt reflects Egypt's concern that Al-Qaeda-inspired militants from the Gaza Strip would infiltrate Egypt after being forced out by Hamas, which was all a crock of shit. And did you know that Egypt, under the corrupt Sisi regime, was one of the only Arab countries to classify Hamas as a terrorist organization, which aside from them, only Western countries have done? Yes, Egypt previously designated Hamas as a terrorist organization in 2015, but then later rescinded that decision because Egypt realized their foreign and domestic standing depended on a strong relationship with Hamas. And don't get me started on the president of Egypt, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the disgustingly corrupt Western-implanted coward puppet that is controlled by the US and Israel by proxy. I have lots to say about this piece of shit, but I'm going to keep that all to myself. Plus, again, you can research all of this yourselves. Also, a quick fact in case you didn't know. The only countries in the entire world that have designated Hamas as a terrorist organization, and I'm sure you can guess most of them, are the US, the UK, Israel, Australia, Japan, and the EU. That's it. Yup, smells like white colonialism to me, baby. But back to the Egyptian border. I've read the most horrendous accounts from way back, well before October 7th of last year, around Palestinians' experiences crossing the border into Egypt. I'm not going to get into all of these stories, as that's a simple search you could do online. But the common theme is that they extort and bribe an already vulnerable, mistreated, ailing, and poor population through exorbitant and illegal amounts to cross the border. And again, this has been a common practice before October 7th and is now significantly worse, as they are taking advantage of the utter desperation of the Palestinians trying to save their families, trying to save their children from being massacred, as they have been for the last 6+ months. You all are sick. Before October 7th, when there was a little less bribery, it only cost a few $100s to cross the border. It is now costing up to $10,000 per person. Imagine having barely any money to feed your family as a result of Gaza being one of the poorest places on earth, while before this war, only to have to pay $40,000 for your family of 4 to save your family's life. It's disgusting. And I want to be clear here that when I say Egypt, I'm not speaking about the citizens of Egypt. In fact, I love the citizens of Egypt and the diaspora all over the world. I have an absurd amount of Egyptian friends, one of which is a forever best friend and brother to me. So shout out to my homie Kareem, who I know would never condone any of these actions at the border. I'm specifically calling out the Egyptian officers and border security that facilitate these illegal actions and bribes in order to take a large cut for themselves, as well as the Egyptian government for allowing this to happen out in the open without any arrests, reprimands, or repercussions whatsoever. Can you imagine a serial killer in your family home about to murder your entire family? And then when you manage to escape your home with your family to run to your neighbor's home to seek safety, your neighbors open the door and say, "Sorry, I know that our kids go to school together and our families go out to dinners together, but I can't let you into my home until you pay me $25,000. Oh, you don't have that? Sorry." And then they slam the door shut, and then the serial killer catches up and kills your entire family. Yup, Egypt, you're that neighbor. Do you understand the level of evil you'd have to be to financially take advantage of the suffering Gaza population? Gazans, whom are the most prideful, self-sustaining, and selfless people on earth, are having to swallow their pride and beg, literally beg, people all around the world to help them out with donations because there's no way in hell they'll be able to meet the amount these Egyptian officers and border security are asking for. I've spoken to over 100 families in Gaza since October 7th, and every single one of them has expressed a sense of embarrassment and shame for asking for help. They're apologetic when asking for help to save their families. Do you understand what I'm saying? No one should ever feel that way. Ever. So Egypt, this video is for you. Sisi, as president, head of state, and supreme commander of the Egyptian armed forces, it is your duty to at the very least reprimand your conniving officers at the Gaza border that are taking advantage of the Gazan people. You must also designate an affordable flat rate per adult and a less flat rate per child for each family to cross the border. Extortion and bribery of any kind must be prohibited and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Also, I'm calling on the Egyptian citizens who can get to the Rafah border to pull a list of names together of all the officers, border security, travel companies, and agents at the Gaza border doing all of this extorting and bribing. If you can get names and pictures, even better. They all need to be outed and publicly shamed if this useless Egyptian government won't do anything about it. So Egypt, don't think you're immune because Israel isn't attacking you. You're about to have something far worse coming, which is the entire world's negative public perception of you. And we all know that you've got an economy that is heavily dependent on tourism, so I think you could put 2 and 2 together. But I'll say it directly so you understand. If this illegal extortion, bribery, and taking advantage of the suffering Gaza population doesn't stop, then I call on the entire world to boycott Egypt by hitting them where it hurts the most, which is their tourism industry, as well as all of their exported products. And I know the Suez Canal is easily one of the best things to happen to Egypt with regard to trade. So don't let it get to the point where we call for a blockade on all your trade if you don't shape up. I know this will probably have effects on the citizens of Egypt, but that just means the citizens of Egypt need to rise up stronger for the Palestinian people. Push your government to stop this madness at the border. The actions of these Egyptian officers and security at the border crossing are quite literally crossing me and all Palestinians, native and diaspora. And when you cross us, you'll have hell to pay.
So, and also we have a new moon in Aries, which is also manifestation. So I believe wholeheartedly during this time, especially we're still in Ramadan energy.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. This is Mokura from Gaza, currently in Egypt. I wanted to mention one thing to everyone, and this is very, very important if everyone just thinks about it for 5 minutes. Not even for a minute. So in 4 days, on Wednesday, inshallah, will be Eid. And you know, this time, the last 5 days, everyone's getting ready to, you know, get nice clothes, get nice things, buy some nice stuff. So if everyone thinks with me for a minute, and we're like milyar, we're so many Muslim people who celebrate Eid. So if everyone celebrates Eid, but instead of buying clothes and nice stuff for Eid, that money, that $100, $200 for him, the kids, the wife, sends it to anyone to Gaza, either in person or through an organization or through a GoFundMe or through whatever way he's able to, that makes a difference. Can you imagine how many Muslims will be making maybe one last time, one life happy before something happens to him in Gaza? You know, Gaza, people there, it's between life and death. In this 100, 200, whatever you want to send, you make a difference for the people, for getting new clothes, for getting food, for whatever they're getting for the last moment. Then maybe this is the last Eid for them. Maybe this is the last Eid for them. So everyone, make sure that instead of buying something new or whatever, inshallah, you send it to the people in Gaza, and they will appreciate a lot, inshallah. If you need any help, I'm here, more than welcome, and we can help everyone through anything, inshallah.
Hey, if you're still supporting Israel, you might actually be fucking stupid. And you can't even use the excuse that they were going after Hamas. They bombed literal US citizens simply because those citizens delivered humanitarian aid to Gaza. And the funniest thing about this is when this first started, people would be so proud to support Israel. They'd be like, yeah, I love Israel. And now they're very quiet. They don't post about it as much. I wonder why. Literal war crimes are happening right now. Genocide is happening right now. And the worst part is that we literally can't do anything about it except talk about it.
Okay, which also, that's another thing that I'm learning, that I want to pass it down to all of you, especially those who around here are not really Muslim. I will talk about this a little bit. Sorry for my speech. It's Mercury retrograde too. Okay, so bear with me. I think it started already. April 25th. So it already started. Sorry. Yeah, I'm all over the place. But yes, for those who are still in Ramadan right now, doing the fasting, you know, Salam alaikum, inshallah. Okay, but yeah, it's a lot. So that's why I'm kind of like, so I got my period during the time that I'm doing Ramadan. So I got really sad. Really sad, because like, no, I want to continue. But then I did my research, and I reached out to other Muslim women, and they told me that yes, you have to stop fasting when you have your period. And also, but one miracle, which I was like, alhamdulillah, glory be to God, I don't have chronic pain this period. I didn't even realize that I had it, which is a first for me, because usually I get really a lot of pain. Like sometimes I can't move and it's really hard, and medication doesn't work, nothing works, okay? So yeah, so that for me is a miracle. Thank you. If I would have known, I would have done Ramadan a long time ago, okay? But I definitely learned, and this time, the 3 weeks that I did it. Hey, what are you doing? No, don't play with that. No. Oh my God, now my cat wants to play with my wire. Hey, no, you don't play with that. No, out of there. Why? Someone's trying to get your attention, guys, or hey, Holy Spirit, okay? Anyways, what I've learned about this is that not only this time when women, is like a special time that God does for, you know, for women during this time. And I never really value that too. It's just like I learned that I don't really value water as much as I should. Like now it's like I constantly like, oh my God, how did I ignore, you know, drinking water and stuff, you know? So that's why I'm like, oh my God, like, but now it's like I'm appreciating water more, and like the food that I consume, the things that I buy. I would recommend, I will put in the description below, there's an app, it's called No Thanks, okay? And it's not a promotion, I don't get any out of that, it's just, I get the fact, my satisfaction is that a lot of people will be conscious consumers, which is something that I always pray for. I always manifested every single year for the past 7 years, and it happened, okay? So It's sad that it had to get to this point, that there's a genocide to get to this point. But again, a lot of people, again, this is exposure and revealing the illusion and getting out of the matrix. I will recommend though, and I will suggest that when you're looking at this app, when you download it, okay, go onto the list section, look at all the brands, familiar yourself with it, go through the rage, because you're going to go through the different periods of grief, okay? You're going to go through the really sad, really, because you got to go through grieving these obsession with materialistic stuff, with these brands that are not, they're supporting genocide, okay? And the beautiful fun part is that you can take this in your phone and you can scan, you can go to the supermarket, scan the products that you're gonna consume, that you used to consume, and you can see which one supports Israel and which one doesn't. And the ones that doesn't, then there you go. You get to buy those. And then you feel so good after you're done your shopping, and you feel like, you know, and also you spend less, because most of the time that, you know, and also you realize too that most of the stuff that you were spending, yes, they're cheaper, but in terms of life, it's more expensive. That's just my opinion. So if you want to be a conscious consumer, someone who doesn't, also that too, this app helps you not to be financially cussed. Because like I told you guys in multiple months ago, and multiple readings already, and it has come out in readings, it has come out in channel messages, there is a financial debt, curse, karmic debt, when you purchase these products that support Israel. And it's same happens with the government or anybody supporting these people, because these people are extremely, I don't know how to stress this enough, how cursed they are. And it's not just this lifetime, it's multiple lifetimes. You don't mess with the chosen. They think they're gonna get away with it, or they think they're getting away with it, but this is just the beginning. Do you understand? The shame and the embarrassment is going to be torture enough for these people, but still, it's not enough. They're going to be persecuted just like the Nazis did, and probably even more. Sorry that I'm talking like this. Someone is messing with my throat chakra, the usual. Every light worker has to go through this, but it's not really affecting us, especially when I'm on my period, okay? I just feel bad for all of you who are doing this while I'm on my period, because when I'm on my period, God is extra close. So whoever is trying to attack me, you're going to find God. You're going to meet your maker. Okay? Just saying. But you can continue doing your thing. It's not really affecting me whatsoever. Okay? But I am, you know, my speech and stuff, and I tend to, you know, speak funny or be a bit clumsy. Okay? So those who know me, you know what's up. Okay? So yeah. So try out the app. Be a conscious consumer. Okay? I know this is something that this app is going to be livid, okay, because they make money out of us making videos, and then they advertising their little brand. So they've obviously, if I'm putting this app, you're gonna see the brands, and they're gonna feel some type of way. So I'm losing money already, so fuck it. All I care is that you don't continue adding more karmic debt into your lifetime, into this life, into your lineage. If you're planning to have children, or if you already have children and you continue buying from this thing, please continue boycotting McDonald's and Starbucks. Continue boycotting things, okay? Because at the end of the day, I know for a lot of you, oh, it's so hard. I know it's hard. I know it is. But I think it's harder to know that those people that you're contributing with your taxes, with your money, for them to continue what they're doing over there in Palestine, in Gaza, in Rafah, okay? This is why I show you the videos and stuff like that, so that you have a conscience, so you have a heart, so you wake up. That's what being woke is, okay? Just saying, it's up to you. I mean, it's God gave you free will. I'm just showing you what it is happening, the truth. Okay, and it's up to you. You already know, so you can't say, oh, I didn't know, and be unconscious about it. No, you're making it conscious. You have making a conscious decision to watch this video. And thank you for liking it, so other people can be conscious and awakened too, and enlightened, because that's what we're here for. We're not here to sugarcoat things for you. We're not here to enable genocide, multiple, and continue the injustice and the imperialist, fascist, capitalist systems. We're here to change. That's what the new earth is. We're not here to conform and stay silent and distract people from knowing the truth, from protecting those who are literally being homeless, but they don't have to be. when they're in their own land, they're there. They have the right to be in their land, yet they have to create GoFundMe so people help them to get out of their own land because if not, they're going to be massacred and killed. Yes, this is what's being hidden from you. And this is what these apps and all the other apps are complicit as well. Yes, YouTube, you're in that list too, and no thanks, YouTube, yeah? Yeah, but unfortunately, we don't have any other ways of communication. We don't have other ways. Again, this is the sucky part, that these apps were created by the Most High, but they're used for the wrong reasons. Just like we're seeing a lot of people using their gifts and talent and using it for the wrong reason and not speaking about this, but they're connected to God. Sounds familiar? Okay. Oh, so now he's taking books. Some of you need to be reading books. Yes, my cat likes when I read books, either when I'm reading or when I'm reading to my kids. So he likes to be around. So I think, yeah, he likes to take books, and yeah, it's really funny. One day I'll show you that. But anyways, going back to, sorry if I'm all over the place. It's just, I guess, my retrograde and also I will talk about this on the new podcast that is going to be in the description below. I've been guided to give a small podcast as well. Try to be small because there's messages for there too. So if I don't end up saying anything here, it's going to be confirmation in the podcast as well. So, but yeah, so Ramadan, I'm learning in this, not only about water, but also how, you know, we really have to humble ourselves. It really nurtures our discernment and our strength, our faith. To a level that I never thought I will reach to that level. Okay, if you see my light going weird, it's my cat. I don't know what's going on. But again, it's protection too, because it is what it is. Yeah, so something is going to be exposed. Okay, so first there's going to be in the description below videos that is going to be attached here. Then there's another video that I just posted recently because I was about to record, and then I had a dream about this reader. Linda likes tarot, right? And I was like, wait, why is she and then it just clicked because the video that she posted, it was like, he was just saying, like, I heard it clearly, confirmation. And I was like, oh, so before I recorded, I heard confirmation when I saw this video on YouTube, and I was like, oh, I was literally looking for music to put in the background for this. And yeah, so for a lot of you, I will maybe watch it later because he told me to watch it, but it's confirmation for some of you from this reading as well. Or if there's a part 2, I don't know, because there was a lot of downloads and messages that he wanted me to specifically take. Also, I'm going to add some videos of the GoFundMes. The link is going to be in the description below for you, okay? Now, for Ramadan, I learned that during the period, you have things to do too. Not only your prayers and stuff like that, but I will talk deeper about this in the podcast, okay? But there's definitely things to do. For example, like having reminders about God, and he asked me to mix both of them. So it's not just about reading the Quran, but the Bible as well, and increasing that strength, that connection with God. Okay, increase charitable acts. So during this time, it's not about you do charity work, and that's just like financially. You can do sharing, liking, sharing their videos, amplifying the voices of the Palestinian, the Congo, and Sudan. One thing that I'm definitely going to be focusing on more is what's going on in Palestine right now, and a little bit more of Congo every now and then, and Sudan and stuff like that. Okay, they all deserve the same energy. It's just that I'm one person doing multiple things. I'm a single mom, and I also work with people with disabilities, and it's a lot. Okay, so yes, so this is why it's just beautiful if we collectively unite and actually do this work together. Because there's a lot of light workers that I wish, for the love of everything, that they let go of the ego and their greedy, selfish need of getting more views, subscribers, and followers while we're trying to eradicate a genocide. There's multiple genocide happening. Your energy is being wasted. You're letting the enemy distract you, and use your energy to distract us, the people who are speaking the truth, by suppressing us. Because the more you're creating content that is not related to the cause, to pro-Palestine, to help those in need right now, consciously or unconsciously, that you're damping our content. So, and now it's more out of malice, out of like, well, you think you're better than us, so we're going to show you that we're better, but I'm not in competition with you. It's not a competition. That's the system that had. This is why decolonization is important. This is why eradicating white supremacy and racism, which are demonic, dark magic stuff that is normalized in our system, in this system, that it needs to change. I'm not in competition with you. We're just asking you to help. The same way that the Palestinians are asking you to help them is the same way that we're doing. You could be doing the exact same thing too. No, you're not doing it because you don't get any financial gain. You don't get any money from it. That's where you lose. That's what the hardest fall is going to be, because this is not about money. This is not about us. And if you're focused on helping people and all you care is about money, then you're not helping anybody. You're only helping yourself. And yes, a lot of you are, well, it is. Some of us have to be selfish. Okay. The day of judgment, I hope you have that same answer when God asks you, what were you doing during this time? And I hope you can face him and look him in the eye when he asks you that question. Because at the end of the day, like I told you guys, and you guys, I don't know, nobody's listening. This is Earth School. And we do get tested every single hour of every day. So choose your choices wisely, okay? Especially during this time. This is a very important solar eclipse. Absolutely, okay? So he wanted to recite the Quran or recite Bible studies or learn some scriptures, or I've been reading both, so it's been very interesting, look into the Islamic religion and understand, just part of the colonization, and look at other studies. But since we're in Ramadan, I wanted to have more knowledge about that, and I even downloaded the Quran app and stuff, and it's been really interesting. I've been reading a lot of scriptures are very similar to scriptures from the Bible and stuff, and even more deeper meaning, which is like, I don't know, just poetic and like, I don't know, it's just and it feels ancient too. So I don't know, for some reason past life, it feels, when I'm reading the Quran, it's just like, wow, I think I might have known some of the stuff, like it seems familiar, so not that I know any stuff, but I will go deeper into certain revelation that he let me know while I was reading the Quran, okay, in the podcast. I think it's 83 is going to be, okay? And if I haven't posted it, I will be posting it later, okay? So it says, keep a gratitude journal. So remember, God always wants you to be grateful. So a lot of you, you have the privilege of a lot of things that you have right now. Be grateful. Like a lot of us who haven't been, we're like, okay, so we don't have to fast. We get to eat, right? But you feel guilty. You have the guilt, survival's guilt, right? Which is really hard to not let go of, and also continue amplifying the voices, continue looking into the stories of the people who are asking for GoFundMe to create the videos for them and stuff like that, or share their videos, or you know what I'm saying. So it's a lot, okay? And that too is like, pray for them, pray for the strength that God uses that strength to give them strength to continue going, and eventually, pray. This new moon in Aries is a beautiful energy it's about, Aries is like the number one in astrology. And I will talk about that because I know there is some type of misconception of astrology in the Muslim community. And I understand, because it's the same energy for Christian and evangelists that they have against astrology and tarot. But then again, not everybody's supposed to be doing astrology, and not everybody's supposed to be tarot. There's just specific people, and there's people that are doing it just not for the right reasons, right? So when their intention is not done for the right reason, then yes, it does invite Satan. It does invite the enemy, okay? Because that's another thing that I'm learning to them as well, that speaking about the name or saying the name is kind of like inviting it and stuff. But for us who are light workers, this is something that we go from the dark to the light, and we're able to use our gifts and talents. And that too is like what we do, the work that we do, it does come with immense protection, okay? So just letting you guys know that when you do something for others, when you have empathy for others, when you work, you're part of the humanitarian work that you do, not just for yourself, but you do things for others, it comes with that extra protection, which I find is wealth. is spiritual wealth. So a lot of y'all, that's what's going to be exposed, that some people were trying to steal that from you. Oh yes, and use it for themselves and use it for the wrong reason. Use your energy for the wrong reasons, okay? I did got a couple confirmations for that, but oh, and there's my earring. Yeah. The other thing, it was beautiful energy, is be kind to yourself. So during that time, I've been trying to be kind to myself because I was like, oh man. But then again, I can pick it up after my period's done. I can pick up where I left off. So I have another extra 8 days to do after my period's done. But I'm really happy and grateful that it's not as painful as every single month is. Like this pain that I'm having is I've been having 2 days. That's why it's kind of hard to record today or do anything much. It was durable, not that it was like unbearable. This one is bearable. So I'm actually really, really happy and grateful for that. So I was like, okay, God, thank you. Okay. So I guess maybe I'm learning that doing a little fasting before I get to have my period, then that will help with the pain and stuff, instead of like, you know, and really enduring it and not able to do much. You know, sometimes it's really like paralyzed. Like I feel paralyzed from here down, and it's very difficult. So enough about that. I have a couple videos for you, so here's some.
A reminder this Easter: Israel oppresses Palestinians of all faiths, including Palestinian Christians. Palestinian Christians are one of the world's oldest Christian communities, from towns like Bethlehem, Jerusalem, and Gaza, cities that are under Israel's brutal apartheid system, and in Gaza, genocide. Across Palestinian cities, including in Gaza, there are long-held Easter traditions such as parades led by youth groups and gatherings with loved ones. This Easter, Palestinian Christians are observing the holiday somberly as Israel continues its genocidal attack in Gaza and frequent attacks in the West Bank. Like Palestinians of every faith, Israel has subjected Palestinian Christians to brutal violence for decades. From the Nakba, or the catastrophe of 1948, when armed militias violently forced 75% of all Palestinians out of their homes and towns, including Christian towns, to establish the state of Israel on their land, to the present, where Israel often targets Palestinian Christians as they worship in churches or prevent them from entering in holy sites at all. In October, Israel bombed the Church of St. Periphorus in Gaza, said to be the third oldest church in the world, killing at least 18 Palestinians who were sheltering inside. In December, Israeli soldiers besieged another church in Gaza, where some 550 Palestinians were sheltering. There, an Israeli sniper shot and killed a mother and her daughter seeking refuge inside the church. Just last week, Palestinian Christians in Gaza were forced to observe Palm Sunday under Israel's ongoing genocide, trying to maintain a hint of normalcy during what would be a celebratory time, the start of Holy Week. Israel targets and attacks all Palestinians regardless of faith all year round, without any regard for their lives, let alone their holidays. Everyone should be free to observe their holidays in peace, to pray, reflect, and be with community. It's time for Israel to be held accountable for its acts of genocide, occupation, and daily brutality against Palestinians.
April 1st, 2024. As you can see behind me, this is the specialty building in Al-Shifa Hospital. Over here, this is where the ER was. This is also the garden of Al-Shifa Hospital. Over in that area is the midwifery building. Over here, this is the laboratory for the blood samples. This is also the management department. Down in the other side is the other garden where there is a lot of departments for cancer specialty, for dialysis. As you can also see, the whole departments, all the Shifa Hospital is completely destructed. Anybody that has wounds, anybody that is sick, anybody that needs any medications, they're not allowed to come to the hospital. As you can see, there is no treatment at all. All the departments inside the Shifa Hospital have all been burnt. You can't even extract a needle or vial out of the departments due to the destruction that's in the hospital. As you can see, this is a sample of a dead body in the garden of the Shifa Hospital. All around the Shifa Hospital, all the surroundings of the Shifa Hospital, all the streets in around the Shifa Hospital are all dead bodies like this. This was all due to the airstrikes, all due to the gunshots that have been taking place around the Shifa Hospital for the past 14 days. All these bodies have all been, there's dead, there's ants, there's insects that are coming out of these bodies with such horrific smells, because all these bodies are half dead, are half taken away, and then all the bodies are just thrown like that. Behind us there's bodies that are coming out of the department from a Shifa hospital that have been dead in the hospital without anybody being able to remove them for the past 14 days. We don't know how long they've been dead, but now there are being people coming inside the hospital and being able to get them out to take them to a graveyard. That we just found in a Shifa hospital right now. This is another dead body. Look at how it looks. This is one of the samples of dead bodies. We were just coming in to show more of what the ER looks like, the place that we've been able to treat a lot of patients, the place where we spent a lot of days, the place where we had a lot of memories with a lot of different colleagues and wounded people. Now, everywhere you go, you're able to find dead bodies, pieces of dead bodies with such horrific and bad order. This is the department of the ER. Now it looks nothing like what the ER should look like, and any patients that come to the ER needing to find any treatment and are not able to find anything. And I believe right now I'm even stepping on some martyrs, on some dead bodies and pieces of dead bodies. As you can see again, this is the leg, this is the bones. This is what the dead bodies they look like. There is also a lot of people that are yelling and screaming, trying to express their anger with all the scenes, with all their, they came and they found all their family members dead. They had found their family members being abducted, being detained, not knowing anything about them since the IDF invaded Al-Shifa hospital. As you can see, this is just a woman trying to express her anger in the middle of the garden of Al-Shifa hospital. We were able to treat a lot of people. We had a lot of memories. You can see right over here, this is an airstrike explosion that has not been exploded. People are telling us to leave. The security is telling us to leave the place. Over there was the ICU, the green zone, the yellow and red zone all around this area. Nothing looks the same. Nothing looks like it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be in the art. Unfortunately, the health system in Gaza right now has officially collapsed. This is the main entrance of Al-Shifa hospital. This is where the ambulances come in. This is where the cars exit, the cars enter. This entrance right now cannot be entered or exited from Al-Shifa hospital at all because of what has been happening to the entrance. The bridge on top has been collapsed. The cars, the trucks, they're all, these are for the press TV. Now they've all been thrown at the door of the hospital to prevent entrance or exits.
Okay. So, I did promise, and I always keep my promises, especially when it comes to messages like this and dreams like this. So, what you just saw is, it was before, I don't know if you guys, for some of you who follow me, but I don't know, because YouTube has been suppressing my community board as well. Like, I don't know if you guys are seeing. So make sure you guys like every time you see my community board. That does count, okay? From, you know, there is some suppression and censorship for sure. I am pissing off these people off because I'm here to speak the truth. And then most of the people here on YouTube are not, which they should, but they're not. They don't want to do it because, oh no, they value money more than humanity, which is really sad. But anyways, whatever. I did promise you guys, so those who do, who've been here, who are the real G's, okay, I told you guys that I did had a very crazy ass dream before that. I did post about that situation in Al-Shifa hospital. The dream that I had was that I saw the night before everything, and apparently it lasted for 3 weeks, but in my dream it felt like that. It felt like 3 weeks, but I just saw everything in one day. The next day I wake up after prayers and getting things done. I just see that and I was like, oh my God, like I saw that the next day in the morning. And it was shocking because I had the dream that I had. It was dream/vision, I will say, because it felt real. Like it felt like I was there. I saw everything unfold. It was like the soldiers did not look like humans. They looked demons. They looked like disgusting. Some of them had no faces. Some demons had no face or eyes. And they were like decomposing kind of thing. And they had like the uniform. They had the hat, like the uniform, the IOF, right? And they had guns. I saw there was different section, and I saw the hospital. now it was clear, but it looked like a destroyed building, right? Like it was in the dark, it was during the night. And I felt like this bubble was surrounding me, so I couldn't even like touch or trying to help anybody. It was just me like being like a witness, like watching everything unfold. Basically to validate those people that right now are being gaslight, and especially those victims who did survive those things and they were able to speak up about this. It was more. I feel like the people who are finally talking about it in their testimony, they're kind of like saving you guys the trauma, but they endure it. They witness it. They were there. But in the dream, I was able to see it like, it was like as if it was live. Like God gave me that access to see it. And it was like, I am telling you, I woke up shaking and sweating. Like it was a lot. There was a lot. These people, at first I will see the people who were I saw people tied up in the back or blindfolded. And I saw that their body was human, but it was light. It was so shiny. It was like bright as this light here. And it was so bright, okay? And the demons, they look like soldiers. They hated it. They were trying to, hurt them and stuff like that, which is exactly what's happening in the physical. So when we really tell you what happens in the spiritual realm happens after in the physical. So everything is spiritual here. We're just, again, we are spirit people here having a human experience. So that dream was literally like, okay, that's absolutely confirmation, because the people, their soul is what I saw, and they look like human, but it's a soul, and it was so bright. Like Palestinians are the chosen for sure. Like that's for sure. They look like stars. Like it was so bright, and these demons couldn't stand it, so they try to hurt them. They're trying to. There was a lot of fucked up shit, especially the children were the brightest, okay? And that was, in my dream, it was hurting even more. Like, I was crying, like, on my knees, like I didn't want to see anymore, but it was like I had to see. They did the worst thing you can think of. Children, they can't stand children, okay? So they were torturing them even more. So all I can think of is like, we really have to help those who are in the custody of the IOF or the prison cells in Israel, okay? Because I don't think you understand how much these people hate them. Like hate, envy, jealousy, like to 110 times volts max. Psychopathic, sadist kind of thing. This is why they pay anything at any means, propaganda, to lie, to cover what they want to do to the Palestinians' children for so much reason. I don't know what their deal, but then again, we know that the enemy, the devil, can't stand. Satan cannot stand children. Why? Because they are the next generation. He's trying to eradicate those who God loves so much. God loves Palestinians, obviously. His son was Palestinian. Duh. So we already got that. And also now, if we really acknowledge yourself and decolonize yourself and read all the books, not just the Bible for like the Christian community, I think you will understand why too when you read the Quran too. Okay. Especially they look at Jesus and Muhammad as like, they're like prophet brothers. Like they're like, so yeah. Anyways, Muhammad was very gifted as well. Very, very gifted. Just like Jesus. But anyways, we're going to leave that for the podcast, okay? So in this dream also there was the atrocities that did in women and men. They have some type of issue. It's kind of like they like to emasculate themselves. So they will feel some type of way when they would do something to men. Also, men, yes, there was that too. That's why I felt pukey after that day. Like I felt like this guy, because I was like, I don't want to see this. So I would like just move and like try to see. Like I couldn't do anything. It was just. But then again, there's that fight also of angels. I saw archangels, like literally, like it could have been more, but there was like other, which I see the archangels are the ones who guide the resistance. That the enemy, right? The IOF is, Israel is trying to demonize, right? And dehumanize them. But they're the one they're protecting and saving the people that they're trying to eradicate and literally ethnic cleanse, right? And they're supposed to take it. They're just supposed to take it, right? Because the system, the Western society, the government, the corruption governments, because this is what's being exposed in the clips, is that all of them are complicit. Even the people who stay silent as well. Even the people that took brides as well. They took money from this. All the influencers that decided to take money from this and continue the Israel propaganda. Everything comes with a price. Now, when they will kill those people in the spiritual realm, the chosen, okay, I saw that their light will dim out, but it felt like it will dim out, and then you will see, I'll see this, like, it will go back to, like a star, it will go back up. So I saw that, like, massive. It felt like, it's like they were free if they were, like, in shackles or something like that. So that, in a way, I was, like, sad, but it felt reassuring, because who wants to live like that? Like, who wants to go through that, what they were going through, and like nobody to help them? And then those people who were helped, who will kill those freaking demons and massacre, like needed to like just eliminate them because they were doing horrendous things. When they will die in the spiritual, I know, Baba, I'm sorry. See, oh my God, it's like, girl. But yes, I was guided to say this. I have to say this. They were, it was like they will go back to earth. Like they will go back to, like they will melt kind of thing and go back to earth and become dust. So it will be like kind of melty, nasty, or they will become mud, or it looked like poop, to be honest. Like they look like poop. And that's what they are, right? They're all fucking full of shit, right? So yeah. A lot of y'all, I need you to understand that part of their propaganda, the amount of money that they spend, so you guys believe all the lies that they're saying, so that they don't look bad. I will need you to analyze what really happened at Al-Shifa Hospital. Do your research. I know for a lot of you, today he gave me confirmation that not everybody has access to social media, and right now even more, like if they don't know that they have to change their access for more political stuff and not repress their content and not to see more sensitive stuff than they are able to see. But now it's like they're using that, like a lot of people are not really social media savvy, so they're not really seeing, or they can't really see, okay? Just like they've done with the news here, that they made a bill so that no people see the news here in Canada or in other countries, I don't know, but that is a suppression of information, that is suppression of truth, right? And censoring, right? And suppressing. But then again, it benefits those who are in power and those who are benefiting from a genocide, because this is a business. Talking about that, I need to tell you this.
War is the perfect business model, and the genocidal war on Gaza is another example of a perfect business model for imperial fascist parasites like Israel. The Guardian just published this article titled "The Machine Did It Coldly. Israel Used AI to Identify 37,000 Hamas Targets." I'll spare you the heartache and anger of reading the article. It basically tries to rationalize the wholesale butchering of Palestinians in Gaza. There are two AI systems that Israel is using to target Palestinians. The first one is called the Gospel. That one generates a list of buildings and structures that should be targeted. The second one is called Lavender, and that one is specific to individuals that should be targeted. So what the Lavender machine does is it drops bombs called dumb bombs. They're not precise and they result in a lot of collateral damage, but they're cheaper. Because war is a business model and you have to keep the costs low. This is what a terrorist Israeli officer says. You don't want to waste expensive bombs on unimportant people. It's very expensive for the country and there's a shortage of those bombs. And if you didn't know before, Gaza is Israel's battlefield. So this year, when Israel goes to its arms and weapons fairs worldwide, they will sell Lavender and the Gospel and say that they were battlefield tested during the genocide in Gaza. So what does McDonald's buying out all 225 restaurants from its Israeli franchise mean for us as individuals that are boycotting McDonald's as well as other brands? So for context, the Israeli branch of McDonald's gave out free meals to Israeli terrorist soldiers that are killing people in Gaza. As a a result, this triggered boycotts against McDonald's worldwide, with the most successful being in Arab and Muslim countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Jordan. A few days ago, McDonald's said that it was going to buy out all 225 restaurants in Israel, and those restaurants have been owned by an Israeli for the past 30 years. Now, this is a great win for us because our boycotts worked, but at the same time, this doesn't mean that you should stop boycotting McDonald's, because McDonald's did not entirely pull out of the Israeli market and they're not divesting from it. In fact, McDonald's says that it remains committed to the Israeli market and to ensuring a positive employee and customer experience. Basically, this was McDonald's damage control because they suffered a lot of losses as a result of the boycott. So McDonald's is basically trying to revive its brand image. Other targeted boycotts that we can commit to, given the success of the Starbucks and McDonald's boycott, include boycotting Disney and Coca-Cola.
No one is talking about this. It's not even being reported on in the news. So we need to share this message so that everyone knows that it is happening. More and more cases are coming to us suggesting that children in Gaza are being trafficked. Conflicts or disasters are sadly the perfect breeding ground for trafficking gangs. Child trafficking rings from all over the world likely went to Egypt quite early on. These children risk being trafficked into the sex industry, modern slavery, or having their organs removed and sold. The same also applies to the vulnerable mothers and widows who've left Gaza, often with only their children. In one case, it was reported that 3 children and their mother were kidnapped in Rafah and smuggled into Egypt, which might even suggest groups working both inside and outside of Gaza. The 3 children appear to all be under the age of 5, and the family claims have not heard from them since. In other cases, children were taken by the IDF. Euromed Monitor reported that Israel has abducted many Palestinian children and taken them out of Gaza since October. The whereabouts of these children remain unknown. In one case, an IDF soldier, Harel Itach, kidnapped a Palestinian baby and took her to Israel after all of her family were killed. He has since died, and nobody knows where this baby is or what happened to her. Euromed Monitor said that there were numerous reports from Palestinian families who could not find their children after Israeli ground incursions happened, and that the risk of soldiers forcibly taking children has significantly increased. In another case, Rushdie Al-Zaza reported that his wife and children remained missing after they were detained. His children were 4 years old and 6 months old. Another Palestinian woman spoke about Israeli soldiers taking a 12-year-old blonde Palestinian girl away from her parents. In March, almost 70 Palestinian orphans from Gaza were transported to the occupied West Bank. Germany and Israel have labeled it as evacuation rescue, yet there remains a lot of mystery around what happened and where the children are right now. According to the Genocide Convention, forcibly transferring children from the group to another group constitutes the crime of genocide. It is also regarded as a war crime under the Rome Statute of the ICC and violates the Geneva Conventions. UNICEF estimates that at least 17,000 children in Gaza are unaccompanied or separated from their families, and Orphans in Need states that there are more than 33,000 orphans in Palestine now. What makes this even more difficult is that almost everything in Gaza has been destroyed, making it almost impossible to properly investigate reports, verify or confirm information, report a missing child, or even search for the child. Some may even presume the child is just missing amongst the thousands under the rubble. So please share this message. People need to know this is happening, and we need to find a way to do something about this.
I just want everyone to know I'm no longer angry. I'm fucking livid. I just watched a video of a dog eating a toddler. I just watched a video of a dog eating a toddler. I have a picture in my phone for all of you who said it didn't happen of a dog who has a child in his mouth. The full body of a corpse of a toddler in his mouth. 6 months. 6 months. Do you know the quote that is in my head every single time? And I get so disgusted that IOF terrorists and so-called Israelis can repeat to themselves to make themselves feel as though they are doing God's work, this quote that they say is, "We will never forgive them for making us kill their children." They repeat that as though that is a philosophy, as though that is a powerful wording. I will never forgive you for making me watch the children you murdered. I will never forgive you for making me watch you run over corpses. I'll never forgive you for making me watch a man set himself on fire because of you. I will never forgive you for the things I have seen in 6 months. So-called Israelis and IOF terrorists played with corpses while calling the corpses all horrific types of names. Just for me to watch a video of IOF terrorists recording dogs eating children's bodies and human bodies of Palestinians as they're giggling while recording the video. Just for me to then go on Twitter and see threads of the Westerners who were brutally killed by IOF terrorists, and so-called Israelis made a group chat calling them all kinds of 𝂀prt and something about now she doesn't have to jump around like a kangaroo because it was an Australian woman, calling the Polish man an 𝂀prt and laughing at his death. Groups of so-called Israelis. So yeah, I'm over it. I'm livid. Tell me when you guys are ready to do something actually physical. Tell me. Because I can't keep food down. I can't keep water down. I daze off when I'm working.
Blurring the distinction between protected civilians or civilian infrastructure and combatants or legitimate military targets, Israel has effectively characterized the whole civilian population in Gaza as human shields or terrorist accomplices as a matter of legal policy. Those who managed to evacuate to areas that Israel defined as safe humanitarian zones have been met with further attacks, their deaths and injuries justified as collateral damage. By making repeated claims which have been systematically discredited that Hamas used hospitals as operation centers, Israel appears to be operating on the premise that if you tell a lie long enough, people will believe it. Israel has used the camouflage of humanitarian law to characterize the entire Palestinian people and life-sustaining and life-saving infrastructure of Gaza as targetable, killable, destroyable. Israel has attempted to legitimize, for example, the devastations of Gaza's medical infrastructure, which has led to potentially thousands of additional deaths, life-changing injuries and trauma. IHL has thus been distorted to justify a war of annihilation.
All unraveling because it's hypocrisy and lie built upon lie built upon lie, like a tower of lies. And this is what gets me. These are Israeli soldier videos. It's like, you know, most people who commit ethnic cleansing or genocide, you know, they're at least ashamed about it. They don't advertise it.
Israel claimed to have found proof that UNRWA staff took part in Hamas's attacks.
We haven't had the ability to investigate them ourselves, but they are highly, highly credible.
It's both uninvestigated and highly credible.
Not highly credible. It's highly, highly credible.
They are highly, highly credible.
The nations which have oil money, the Muslim nations, why haven't they stepped up to the plate to fund UNRWA? These are more their people than they are the West's people. Why aren't they concerned? Why don't they spend some of their money on UNRWA? This all represents extreme hypocrisy.
I mean, it exposes the truth of the Quranic statement that corruption has spread over land and sea.
Gaza has been under consistent war. The skies are always, you know, have drones in them. Assassinations happen all the time. Innocents are killed all the time. There's a lack of certain medications. So God, when He loves someone, when he loves a nation, in my opinion, he puts them under duress. Because he wants them always to be close to him. He wants them always to remember that in order to be happy in this life and the hereafter, you need to make sure you pray 5 times a day in the masjid. You need to make sure that you fast continuously. You take care of your neighbors. You take care of your parents. You know, you're close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay? So, I show you all of that because Father God wants you guys not to be distracted right now. He wants to continue researching about Al-Shifa Hospital because they're going to try to hide it. They're going to try to distract it. This is why multiple things happen in 24 hours after they removed themselves from Al-Shifa Hospital, and then everybody was, posting out there, but there's no documentation. There was no videos or anything like that. So this is downloads and images that's going to come out from light workers or people like that. I just told you a dream that I had that literally clears that out for you all. That did happen, okay? 400, maybe, I don't know, maybe more, were found dead. And, you need to see this.
So I came across this compilation of images on social media of Palestinians who have been told to go to Rafah for a safe zone when Israel started their genocide on Palestinians since the 7th of October. As you can see, more than 2 million people are in Rafah, but there's nothing safe about it. If you look at the images here, there's a person who has been literally buried alive into the ground. Their body is submerged into the mud. And another person's hand, the rest of their body cannot be seen in here, but this hand should not look like that. This is a hand that has been bulldozed by weapons that have been sold to Israel by the British and the United States. And we are paying for it as taxpayers. Our money is committing these crimes. Look at this Palestinian man who has been left in the street like garbage, who will probably be eaten by dogs, because dogs and livestock are also starving in Palestine. It's not just the Palestinians. There's a forced famine on any living being. We bury our dead within 24 hours, but Palestinians are not allowed to even approach the dead because they will be killed by the army immediately. So our humans, our people, our loved ones who belong to people, who are loved by people, are left to turn into skeletons who are unrecognizable, and people don't know who's who. We are watching a genocide happening. Israel, as the occupier, has a duty under international law to protect its occupied civilians, and this is what they're doing. They are annihilating people, wiping them off civil registries, and our governments are letting them do whatever they want. Yesterday, 7 Western aid workers plus 1 Palestinian were executed. All the media globally said it for what it was, an execution. But when Palestinians die, 41,000 to be precise, it's just a collateral damage. It's war. This is what happens. Palestinians' lives count. They should never die like this. We deserve to live in dignity and also be buried with dignity. Please speak louder, demonstrate, boycott. Our governments are still funding Israel even after their own people, their own citizens were murdered. There's something very wrong here, and we need to do more.
I would like to add something to the narrative regarding the 5 aid workers that were martyred by the IOF in Gaza today, who are all working for the World Central Kitchen. Do not let anyone tell you that the IOF didn't know. Every single, and I know this because I work for an NGO working in Gaza, every single company delivering aid of any kind in Gaza right now has to report every minute detail of their work to the Israeli military. Routes, who was going to be there, like the type of fucking vehicle, all of that. They had all of that information. And they still airstriked the armored car that these aid workers were in, not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times. 4 times. Do not let anyone try and tell you that they didn't know. They knew. They bombed them 4 times for the crime of delivering food to starving children. I want to be so fucking clear about that. You cannot pretend like there is any moral fiber left in that military any longer. The IOF just targeted aid workers who were working for the World Central Kitchen, which is a non-governmental organization that has been delivering desperately needed food into Gaza, where all of their residents are actively starving to death. These aid workers were from Poland, Australia, the UK, and Ireland. Their armored truck that the IOF knew belonged to the World Central Kitchen, knew were on mission delivering food inside Gaza. The armored truck that these 4 aid workers were in was targeted 4 times, and all of them died, torn to shreds. The photos are out there for obvious reasons. 1, not ethical to share. 2, if I did, would get this video yeeted off this platform so fucking fast. There are photos of their passports that are circulating online. However, this literally happened like an hour ago. So out of respect for their families, because simply put, I don't know if their families have even been notified. I'm not going to say their names, but the photos of them and their passports are online. They are all wearing World Central Kitchen gear as well as bulletproof vests. These people were delivering aid. So Poland, Australia, the UK, we know Ireland's stance. We know Ireland will say something. But the other 3 countries, are you willing to speak up for your citizens who were there on humanitarian missions, who will now come home in pieces? Will you advocate for them now that your people are being harmed?
Iran says that Israel bombed its embassy in Syria, killing its top commander. Wait a second. I thought this was just about Hamas. Why have you guys been carrying out strikes against Hezbollah? Why you guys been fucking with Lebanon? And now you guys are going into Iran? I was informed that this was just you guys defending yourselves. Citing a military source, the Syrian state media said that Israel launched an attack from the occupied Golan Heights onto the Iranian embassy, and that Syria shot down some missiles with its air defense system. The Iranian ambassador said that the strike hit a consular building within the embassy's compound and his residence was on the top floor. The White House did not immediately reply to a request for a comment. Of course you didn't, because they're thinking about how they can spin it. I'm telling you right now, all the ghouls and goblins over at the State Department are plotting right now how they're going to come out and lie to the American people about this. How many times have I told you guys that these motherfuckers are trying to go to war with Iran? You know what I bet? The consulate is Hamas. Because we know that that's just a catch-all term for everything and anything you don't like. Hamas is really where the heart is. But in all seriousness, don't let them lie to you about this. We know exactly what's happening right now. Just know that anything that the American or Israeli government comes out to say was the reason for this, they're lying.
Know that the Israeli military say that they have killed and detained hundreds of Hamas militants within the Al-Shifa complex. Do you know if Hamas were there and were fighting with the Israelis?
I am just shocked that we're still having this conversation. They executed tens of people point blank, including one of our colleagues, Dr. Ahmed Khalalati, who's a very experienced plastic surgeon, him and his mother, who's also a physician. They executed people point blank. And including many of our colleagues who've been detained now, we haven't heard back from them. Previous students of mine detained, young doctors detained. We don't know if they're dead or alive. They have been gone for over 100 days. So to say that this is a strategic targeting of Hamas is an insult to our intellect and our humanity. This is this is a destruction of people who heal. This is a direct targeting of healthcare workers. I just want to paint a very brief picture of what healthcare workers are telling me there. They're saying that when they leave the hospital, civilians give them civilian clothing because wearing scrubs is sticking a target sticker on their back. That is how systematically healthcare has been targeted. And frankly, in the last 24 hours, what we've seen from Al-Shifa Hospital, what we've seen from Al-Aqsa Hospital, and what I worry is coming to the remaining hospitals of the Gaza Strip, because it has been the pattern and we will not ignore it, is a direct and systematic targeting of healthcare that is unjustifiable.
They chased them for 1.5 miles. The humanitarian aid workers from World Central Kitchen went in a convoy of 3 cars. Remember, this trip to the warehouse to drop off aid was coordinated with the IDF. Usually they go in 1 vehicle. This time they needed 3 vehicles, so it had extra aid workers. And based off of the information that I just saw that was released, they attacked them over the distance of 1.5 miles or 2.43 kilometers. And it was basically a freaking mouse chase where they struck the first car. Whoever survived the first strike ran all of this distance to the second mark. Then they were struck there, ran, whoever survived, to the third mark, and that's where a direct drone strike happened. They struck them 3 different times over the distance of 1.5 miles. These humanitarian aid workers were chased down, literally. They had to run for their lives from car to car to try and avoid being unalived. Where in God's green earth is this an accident? They were hunted.
What you're seeing here is the aftermath of an Israeli airstrike that intentionally targeted humanitarian aid workers working in the Gaza Strip. The airstrike targeted workers of the organization World Central Kitchen, an org that had been bringing in up to this point hundreds of tons of food into the Gaza Strip. The Israeli airstrike targeted one of their aid convoys, killing 3 British nationals, a US-Canadian dual national, 1 Palestinian worker, and citizens of Australia and Poland. Israeli Prime Minister said in a statement that the strike was accidental, but the World Central Kitchen CEO Aaron Gore described the strike on the convoy as a targeted attack that was unforgivable. And honestly, when you're looking at the details of this airstrike, it's incredibly hard to see how it would have been anything but intentional. World Central Kitchen staff had coordinated its activities with Israeli authorities before this convoy had gone off. The team was traveling in a deconflicted zone in vehicles that included 2 armored cars branded with the World Central Kitchen logo. And the convoy was hit as it was leaving the Deir al-Bala warehouse, where the team had unloaded more than 100 tons of humanitarian food aid brought into Gaza on a maritime route. And the part about the vehicles being marked is particularly important. What they mean by that is that the vehicles in this convoy had clearly identifiable large logos on the roofs of the vehicles. That way Israeli drones and Israeli surveillance units could actually see very clearly what they were. And we know Israeli occupational forces must have seen the logos on top of these vehicles because in at least one instance they shot through it. The reasoning behind this strike couldn't be more clear. Israeli occupational forces are trying to cut off any humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza as they continue to commit their genocide, and doing things like this as a way of intimidating these aid workers and their organizations into not operating in the area. And it's an operation that's proving successful. After the strike, WCK ships have been turned around with over 240 tons of aid being returned to Cyprus, alongside other organizations like the American Near East Refugee Aid Organization and Project Hope suspending their operations in the Gaza Strip. Essentially, Israeli occupational forces are deliberately targeting humanitarian aid workers to intimidate them and their organizations into pulling out of Gaza so that Palestinians in the Gaza Strip face an even more intensified crisis. And in doing so, they are murdering citizens of foreign countries, many of whom are allied to them. Truly, the depravity of Israeli occupational forces knows no bounds, but just something to think on, I guess. As always, free Palestine. Assalamu alaikum, and have a great day.
Yeah. So that's a confirmation that God wanted to let you guys know, because there's some bias or there's some propaganda and there's some lies that he wants you to use your discernment. These are facts, and these are people that have been guided by Holy Spirit to be exposed for you. Okay, so there's gonna be a part 2 because I'm not done. I still have other messages to deliver, but this is gonna be solar eclipse, expose corruption and bias, and for you guys to put yourself the armor of God against propaganda, people lying to you, gaslighting you, you're not crazy. These people are completely insane and genocidal maniacs, and they're being exposed. They're going to continue being exposed. And hold on, I know a lot of you, it was so overwhelming. There's so many stuff going on. Yes, it did. It happened in 24 hours, a bunch of shit at the same time, just to create distraction, just to show that they're just cowards, okay? I love how, I think it's Nadina, she says this on, anyways, I'm going to show you in part 2. So I'll see you there.